Yeah, hi everyone. I'm David Dennis, and I will, for the lengthy part of the office hours, I will be moderating. And well, that is not to say I will be the only person talking. So that's why I asked Favor to ensure, participants, joiners can unmute themselves and contribute to the various conversations that will be happening, right? So it's not just we talking about very, very serious stuff. It can drill down to conversations regarding our day-to-day processes. Our day-to-day jobs, works as DevOps engineers, um, difficulties you face, either in whatever level you are, junior, senior level, um, topics you find difficult to understand. And if you have one or two ideas to share that could help ourselves, that's to also be fine. So we'll be going through various various items rather. So just in a bit, we'll be going through, latest announcements in DevOps space. We're going through the various events upcoming events here in Nigeria in Lagos and also all over the world. And we'll also be going through some various interesting tools and various tutorials that we found, simple enough that even a junior engineer or someone, a DevOps enthusiast, can pick up and run with. Yeah, and we also have a topic that will be the theme of our conversations, right? So we'll be proceeding to that. So just from the top, or do I do I keep this for the later? But I think I should take the announcement we currently have in the DevOps space. So recently, we know that the Kubernetes version 1.25, that's the core Kubernetes itself, has been out like in a while. But AWS will provide a managed Kubernetes service has just also been able to now support Kubernetes 1.25. So that's a way forward for organizations who currently run services on EKS, AWS EKS. So if they will look forward to probably upgrading their services to support the better offerings of the core native Kubernetes, they can run with that. So then currently also we have SysDig. If you know SysDig, when it comes to in terms of monitoring, SysDig is a monitoring solutions provider. So they've currently launched Wireshark Foundation. So Wireshark is a network monitoring service tool related. So they've acquired that and they are putting in open source efforts to in that initiative, to boost how much the tool is used, and level of contributions as well to the tool. Yeah, and we have GitLab, which is a DevOps platform itself. Version 15.9 has been released with new guest rules for viewing private repositories and license approvals policies. And also we have Oracle here, who at the moment has provided, they have a cloud platform, right? OCI, I believe. So they have also now provided support to be able to link Red Hat's Linux to their public cloud infrastructure as a service integration. And now we then have by what's their name? Annet. Annet has named, of which this is quite undisputable. The 5 platform as a service leader. So obviously they are cloud service providers, and AWS is part of it, IBM is part of it, Microsoft Azure, and Red Hat. So yeah, they've been named and crowned the past leaders for the year ending of 2022. And I know there are a whole lot of other news, a whole lot of other innovations that has come in the last month, in the last two months of this first quarter of 2023. So if you have any that you would like to share, you can just signify, or you can drop in the chat. We are all here to learn. And some of us that are not I've not rather subscribed to newsletters. I feel you should, because it's one way for you to keep yourself abreast with the latest happenings in your area of expertise, your profession. And it helps you even when you go for interviews as well. So, and you can also engage in these kinds of discussion. Yeah. Sorry. Favor, I don't know if it's intentional. The chat is actually disabled, so I guess you might want to enable it for those that might not be able to unmute themselves to speak, depending on where they are, if they are in a noisy environment also. Okay, so we're wondering, I just started off speaking to you and announcing the various things that are going on in the DevOps space, right? And didn't even introduce myself. Well, as Favor said, I'm David Dennis, which I am. That's my name. I work with SteamFix, currently enabling DevOps processes and working with software engineers to automate, and to be as an ambassador for DevOps practices, to preach DevOps philosophy that at the end of the day enables quality software delivery in a faster pace, and ensure that we are having reliable and consistent environments that our users, customers are very happy with. Yeah. So, and then on the side, I have been a mentor on the Localhost, DevOps bootcamp we've had in the past. And I'm also a two-time AWS community builder member in the container space. And I also hold a continuous delivery foundation or membership as well too. So basically what we do is to advocate for continuous delivery practices and enabling organizations to also use continuous delivery tools that are open source, and encourage them to contribute to those tools too. Yeah. So I'm very passionate about, the DevOps movement, very passionate about sharing my own ideas, very passionate about learning from people in the DevOps space. All right. So thank you so far for listening. I'll be moving down to about tools and an article. In fact, just two articles actually I have at the moment, which I think I find them useful to junior engineers. And if you're a senior engineer, you might want to, just refresh your knowledge. So one of it is how you make use of the various CI/CD services that Amazon Web Service, AWS, provides, how you integrate them, how you integrate to GitHub, and understand the full CI/CD process, why the objective actually of continuous integration, continuous deployment or delivery, and then do some practices and get yourself better. So I'll be dropping them on the chat of the call. And then also there is also a very simple tutorial about how you integrate the Git philosophy, the Git practices into your operations. I mean, when you talk about infrastructure as code, you know, when you write your Terraform scripts, and then how do you integrate that into your entire pipeline? How do you ensure that your IAC files are contained within the repository of your applications, which are, I mean, some of the practices we find there in the DevOps space. So I'll be sharing those two articles with us right about now. So I will open the floor for anyone that wants to say hi. How far you've been enjoying this office hours. I mean, we've had series in the past. We had one by very, very good persons, you know, in the community that are very passionate as well, sharing their knowledge. And it's how we've grown in time past. It's how we've grown. You've been able to learn from each other, and you don't learn to keep to yourself. You learn to be able to share to the community. That's how you also grow as a person. So regardless of how much you know or how little you know, it's always beautiful for you to be able to share with someone. Yeah, the more you know, the more you teach is the more you know. Yeah. And being it that you are in a space where culture of communication is very, very essential. So you get to build your communication, the way you communicate with people, you get to build the way you also share ideas. I'll be coming down to that a bit, where we we'll discuss later in the call about the values of DevOps. Some of us know about it. It's called CALMS, CALMS, which is culture, communication, sharing, automation, measurement, and lean. Yeah. All right. So you can unmute yourself if you would like to say hi to us here. You know, how far you've been enjoying this our Friday office hours, and if you would like to say anything about Localhost, you can unmute yourself and speak. You see participants. You want me to call you? Okay, so I see okay. I see Bethel.
Okay.
Bethel's end is up. Okay,
Can you hear
yeah, go
me?
ahead. Yes, I can hear you.
All right, thanks. Your brief intro about speaking and learning communication is what has inspired me to speak now. I'm
Nice.
I'm still very much new to the DevOps space, and I'm very much fresh in it, and I'm still learning. But you said we should unmute and say hi. So hi. And I've attended a few Localhost virtual offices, even though a lot of it flies over my head. But as I see myself progressing in my learnings, I'm picking up a few things here and there. So yeah, thank you very much for organizing this, and kudos. Well done.
Yeah. Thank you, Daniel. I think I also like to even use that opportunity to say shout out to, the founders of this community, especially the man that is always in the background, putting things together and making things work, the person of Favor, and also Dio as well too. So, and then every other senior mentors that has been in the community too. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Daniel. That's nice. Nice to have you here. I think I saw Bethel. Bethel, do you want to say something?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, sure. Loud and clear. I can hear you.
Okay. I think Localhost, the virtual office hours has been quite awesome. It's great actually, because during my course of learning, I think I've had a lot of loopholes, and I bring up the issues unnecessarily, sometimes not asked on localhost and I'm concerned. I think it's a very good community.
Yeah, yeah. It's a place for you to learn, and I mean also a place to come together as a family in the DevOps space too. Yeah, so you get to network. I mean, and networking brings a lot of opportunities, not just say you're looking for a job, a role, but still, I mean, you have someone that who knows you could have begin a startup with. So yeah, so there is a lot we are getting here. So nice to have you, better. And that's thank you for giving a shout out. Any other person before we proceed? We'll have like use the next 30 minutes to have our discussion, and then um some other announcements that we have. Yeah, this should be engaging, conversational, so don't feel on the side to
Good
like,
evening.
hey, hi,
This is
Ezekiel.
Ezekiel. Good evening.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay. This is my first local host. I discovered the community about a month ago, but I've missed like a few sessions. So this one I set my calendar reminder that I was not going to miss this one. And so far, going through, some of the backlogs of some of the events that I've organized, I feel like this is a good platform for me to learn and grow as a DevOps engineer, meet people. I said my DevOps journey last year, August, and so far it's been great. I feel like I know that this is a community where I can meet people, get more insights, some of the insights that you can't get over the internet, get more insights, and also get opportunities, to develop myself and my career. So I'm grateful to be here. Thank you to the organizers.
yeah. Thank you too. Thank you, Ezekiel. Nice to have you. Um, it's very important that you should know that even as you are a starter, you're a beginner in, I mean, a particular area of expertise, you shouldn't learn alone, because if you choose to learn alone, I mean your years are going to be very, very long, you know. But when you learn in group, you ask questions as deemed necessary. I mean, you will see the level of growth you've been able to achieve in the shortest time possible. I see Shalom Micah. Hi, Shalom.
Hello, students. Good evening.
Hey, hi, Shalom. How are you doing? How's your day been?
I'm doing good. I'm doing fine. My day has been okay. How about yours?
Yeah, very, very good. I
Sorry,
hope
I'm just coming.
nice, nice.
Yeah.
There's no issue, no issue. Nice to have you. Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. Okay. All right. So I think we have like 5 minutes. I'll just give room to one person. Any lady in the house? I still see Manaste, Madu. Yeah. Any lady wants to give a shout out, you want to talk about, I mean, your achievements so far, joining Localhost or any DevOps community.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hey, hi, Esther. Hi, can hear you.
My background is a bit noisy, that's why I don't want to speak at first for default.
Okay.
So, the stuff we said about needing a community, not having, when you're going through the learning process of DevOps is very important. And I want to also add to that, because that is really important, having a community that helps people that you can easily ask questions and get more insight. I've never been to this program before. I've never attended, but I decided to join this one to at least understand what is happening and hopefully gain more knowledge. So thank you for organizing this. Thank you to the organizers as well.
Yeah, thank you. Nice to have you, Esther. Thank you so much. Okay. Going straight. So today's topic that will lead the conversation for the next, say, about 30 minutes thereabout. We'll be looking at, the importance of you as an engineer, as a DevOps engineer, or probably you're working in a DevOps team the importance of having to choose the right tools. I'll be laying down some form of introduction. So when looking at the DevOps mantra, you know, there is one of it that says putting first, prioritizing culture over processes, and then processes over tools, right? So meaning that the practices, the culture, and the open mindset, the flexible thinking processes, able to adjust to change, either be it your organization structure, be it, I mean, it's people that form the organization, right? Not just the things. So open to change, ideally, embracing the latest happenings in the technology space, you know, um, those things form the culture. How culture, also communication. How do you prioritize it over processes and over tools? It's all about the mindset first. After the mindset, once the mindset is changed, the mindset can then, adapt to process. You can then start creating processes around your various implementation. And once you have the process all spelled out, then you can proceed to do what tool will suit this process. And a lot of time, various organizations or engineers most times tend to lose it. We are quite driven by, oh, there's this new tool that is out there, and we bump into it, integrate it into your process without, carrying out necessary evaluation. How does this tool fit the business case? The essence of we having DevOps, is to help the business at the end of the day. And the essence of doing a business is for you to make more profits. So why do you have DevOps? Is to reduce waste, make more profits, right? And you syncing dev and the operations team, syncing together, eliminating silos, and having a working system. So how do we manage these scenarios, these happenings every day in various organizations where we have this, do I call it an affinity? We have this aptness in quickly driving to pick up a tool. Even it's happening also for enthusiasts, for beginners. There are a myriad of tools there that takes care of just one DevOps process or one DevOps practice. You look at CI/CD, continuous integration, continuous delivery or deployment, albeit you have the likes of Jenkins, you have the likes of GitLab, you have, you even have some inbuilt services in the Azure DevOps suite. You have code pipeline, code deploy, code build for the AWS. You have, myriad of tools out there. And the length of time you take to, say, I want to learn this one, learn that one, learn this one. It's not going to make you as equipped as enough you want to be, because it's not really about the tools. The tools come at the end of the what I call it, number line, like when I place the culture, the process, and the tools. So it's not really about the tools right now. It's about we starting from the very, very beginning and having that culture, having what's it called, the process, and then what tool is suiting. I'm not going into rounding off the conversations. We all have different scenarios that this tend to happen in our various workplace. And even you if you're not yet working full-time or part-time as a DevOps engineer, but you are looking forward to that in the nearest future, very good. But I know that you also face this difficulty of why do I go to choose Jenkins? Why should I start learning Jenkins? Oh, okay, I'm done with Jenkins. I understand, how to write the Jenkins pipeline and all those things. How do I go to pick up GitLab. Okay, do I start learning this one? So how do you, I know you have those difficulties. So that is part of the things that we are going to be discussing here, and helping ourselves better understand how to choose but good platforms that suit our respective business environments, our respective goals. So the floor is open. If you've encountered one or two of such, you can unmute yourself and share. Let's see if we have anyone raising his hand. Okay. Yeah, who wants to go first? Okay. All right. So have you been in, do I even say have you been? So when you were beginning, like starting out your career as a DevOps engineer, I know probably some of us, you may be coming from the software engineering space, or you might be coming from the operations space, or you actually are coming from nowhere, but man, this is DevOps. You love what you're hearing about it. You've seen your friends, they are doing this and doing that, and then you would like to, you feel, yes, you want to build a career off it. So what has been your challenge as regards following through with tools, even though, yes, you get to see on the internet DevOps roadmap, and I mean, you could, on one particular DevOps roadmap sheet, there are tools, there are a lot of things there to learn. So how have you been able to handle that from your own perspective, like from yourself? Like, how have you been able to handle that? Who wants to speak? Okay, yeah, Shalom. Yeah, you can have the floor. You can unmute yourself. Yeah.
Okay, good day. So basically, I think for most of us here, basically starting our career in DevOps, basically, it's more of you being on the safe side, whereby you choose tools and technologies that are regarded as most important, basically, like in the market. So most times, hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay, so most times basically, you tend to search online and then you see like roadmaps. Okay, and most times there's this roadmap that usually gives people choices to choose. So these roadmaps basically have individuals who are actually deep rooted into the DevOps space, and then they highlight those tools that you require that are most important to like beginners when they are starting. So irrespective of the fact that for each aspect of DevOps, there are like 3 to 4, the number even goes higher than that, basically tools that do the same thing. Talk about CI/CD, you have Jenkins, GitLab, you have GitHub Actions. Same thing with Ansible Puppets. Okay, we have tools implementing another. So pretty much that's what you tend to see. So in each of these aspects, there are tools that are most popular. There are tools that are most used. For CI/CD per se, you can say Jenkins, you can say maybe GitHub Actions. GitHub Actions is gaining traction these days. And I don't know about GitLab CI, but I think in some organizations too as well. But mostly Jenkins, you hear Jenkins everywhere. So as a newbie, you always want to put yourself on the safe side of trying to learn these tools that are regarded as market vital, market important, basically. You talk about Jenkins, you talk about Ansible, you talk about Terraform, you talk about Docker and Kubernetes. So for me, my journey, that's how it was. I picked tools that are important in the market. Okay, I started with them. And then, there are sometimes you might want to try a particular project that requires a different requirement. So, like you said, you mentioned culture. Okay, so these things are usually interconnected. So if you understand the concept of using Jenkins in building pipelines, you can easily translate the idea into GitHub action. The only thing you need to do is walk around the syntax and then everything that's falls into it. So basically, that's just how it is for me, and that's how it has been.
Yeah, that's very, very true. Thank you, Shalom. Yeah, so it's just as reiterating what Shalom has said and I said earlier. So it's you understanding the objective of the tool actually. So you getting to know okay, this is the use case we have, this is the problem at hand. What solves this best? It might not be the Gengen tool, like what is, I mean, everybody is speaking of. I mean, might just be one very, very small, little, young open source tool that they are working on at the back there, and you just got to know about it maybe through your searching. And it suits your purpose as easily as possible without any much hassle, So it's you first of all getting to understand this is the problem at hand. This is this is the tool that I believe will suit this this problem and then give us the necessary solution at the end of the day. And for you as a beginner, I think one very, very important thing Shalom mentioned is, tools that gaining traction or are out there, especially because definitely you are learning this to become employed, right? To get a job, to build, to start a career with. So definitely you will learn things that are actually required in the market. But notwithstanding, you are not forgetting to understand the DevOps processes, to understand the culture as well, so that by the time you get in there, you are applying these tools for the right reasons. You're applying these tools. And I mean, you can also become an ambassador to explain, to discuss with your senior engineers, your CTOs, and so on and so forth, senior members of your team, your pain points about if they are using a particular tool that is not really to them, to you, delivering much. It takes time. I'm not saying you should go and do that at the very beginning. It depends on the organization, though, but every organization claims they are flat. So, but just apply wisdom to that. Yeah, so thank you, Shalom. Do I have anybody else that is raising his or her hands, want to speak? Okay. All right, few minutes. Yeah, so I was speaking with from experience, and I was speaking with ChatGPT a few days ago, and we're having this, very, very interesting conversation around this process of how should organizations, how should engineers, choose tools that suitable for their platform, suitable for their business scenario, right? And we just got around and got to list out a few factors of things that we as engineers should take note of. And I'll be speaking on those. ChatGPT cannot. I don't know. Can ChatGPT actually speak? Like, does it have this audio functionality to speak? If it cannot, then I'll just be speaking during the talk. I hope you can still hear me. Okay. All right. So there are a few things. There are a few things that come to note. You can jot. One is integration. Some of us must have heard of vendor lock-in. So vendor lock-in is, do I call it, is like a scenario where an organization, all your DevOps, entire things that you're doing in DevOps is done on one single platform. And on that platform, you do not have that flexibility of moving onto something different. I mean, you can, yes, have your CI/CD, then integrate another platform into your CI/CD platform, maybe for monitoring your pipelines, getting metrics, pulling logs and, generating metrics, how many deploys and all those stuff. Then, also having this kind of optimization where you track what fails your build over time, like history data and all those stuff, applying artificial intelligence, So there are some of the organizations, or there are some tools that enable what to call vendor locking. And everybody has their own opinion around vendor locking. But for me, I feel it's not so good because it doesn't bring about that flexibility. So you having to test and play around things. So different things rather. So integration is one very, very important factor that you should look forward to on what platform that you want to choose for your DevOps processes, right? So how easy is it for you to be able to like scale your business needs? And then how easy is it for you to like integrate your previous or your current infrastructure and tools into the DevOps tools, DevOps tool or platform that you are choosing, right? So these things are very, very important. Then we have also scalability. I mean, your business will definitely scale up one day, and there will be scenarios where it will scale down too. But how does this tool accommodate such? So that's another thing you need to consider too. How, if your workloads increases, will that platform, at the end of the day, provide you with enough resources to accommodate that incremental workload? Then also, we have security. Most of us are hearing things like DevSecOps and so on and so forth. So how secure is the platform? You are running data pipelines. How secured is that on the platform which you are running those pipelines, right? So you need to consider that too. Is it even easy to manage security on that environment, on that DevOps platform? So you might need to consider that too. Then, which is one of the very core values of DevOps, being it as automation, which, you are here reducing tools and so on and so forth, eliminating manual, repetitive tasks that you do over and over again. Making your, getting more values rather from your day-to-day operation, because you don't need to like be doing those things manually anymore. So can the platform enable automation? Is another thing that you might want to consider as well. Does it have such capabilities to streamline your software delivery process? Yeah, you also need to ask. It's a conversation that you want to have with your team, with your infrastructure team, with your solutions architects, and so on and so forth, whoever the stakeholders might be, and advice on this. Then another thing which is very, very essential as well, I mentioned earlier when stating the core values of DevOps once more, is collaboration. Does your tool enable, or your platform, does it enable collaboration between your engineers? Because the flow of communication, if it's easy enough, it takes a lot of waste, takes a lot of helps you get enough time in your hands to focus on some other things, especially you're having things like, okay, you have Slack, right? You don't need to bust somebody over there, like maybe even in another office. Oh, you just send your message or whatever, integrate your Slack channel, your Slack with your CI/CD platform, and you are getting notifications on the status of your deployment, or maybe if your service is down, you are getting notifications. So there are some other platforms that do that. They have that whole suite, the DevOps processes, all the tools that enable DevOps processes or services they have it all built in together. So does your DevOps platform, does it enable collaboration too? So then you also have things like flexibility. How flexible, I mentioned it earlier, how flexible is your platform? Is it able to adapt to change? You know, if say for example, you have AWS, I mean, they've just supported Kubernetes version 1.25, right? Okay, so the platform you are aiming for, is it able to, I mean, adapt to changes in the DevOps space, changes, latest updates and all those stuff too? I mean, you also need to consider that how flexible the platform is very, very important. Then you also have support. And a lot of organizations suffer from this. Now, why do I say so? You find out that because we don't want to spend more money for something that is actually very important, right? Maybe say for example, having to run Kubernetes locally by your own engineers and not willing to offload those workloads and difficulties and time wasting operations to a managed service Kubernetes environment, right? So at the end of the day, you tend to be losing more money than actually if you had planned to be saving, right? So what even came to my thoughts, sorry, to my mind around this is, open source tools. To use open source tools is very, very good, very, very good. But if your business has grown to the point where you can, I mean, go for a paid tool and it gives you more value than having to have used an open source tool, I will advise you to go for that. Yeah, regardless of how much you will spend, though you understand what your profit and loss margin will look like. But it's advised that you go for what at the end of the day will allow your engineers to innovate more, to be more innovative, rather than having to spend every day of their work day troubleshooting and resolving issues, So what level of support does this platform have? What level of community is backing this platform is something that you also need to consider, so that when you run into issues, you will have, somewhere to go to get help. So I've mentioned, just to reiterate, the various things that we should consider when having to choose a DevOps platform that will suit your business needs. First of all, get to understand the problem at hand, get to understand the team that you have, what is your team size, and then get to now apply the various factors such as integration, such as scalability, such as security, such as collaboration. How collaborative enough is the platform? Then does it support automation? And how flexible it is also very important to consider. And very last, the support level of communities backing that particular platform, and how easy is it for you to get support as well. So I don't know. Does anybody have something to add to that? Very, very open. You can please drop your comments, or if you've had scenarios where applying one of these things has been difficult for you. So maybe you want to share. We have senior members, senior engineers that they might have experienced this and can advise you, okay, this is the route to go. This is how you should advise your top level executives. Okay, if you want to maybe change a particular platform because you feel that, and you've done your analysis, right? You feel you are not really getting as much value as required. So if you feel you have such scenarios, you can just share, or if you want to contribute to the few things I've just said, floor is open. You can share. We just have a few minutes to get to 6, so I'd love us to unmute yourself and speak if you have something to contribute. Hello. Okay. Yes, you can unmute yourself.
Okay, so mine is actually a question. I don't know if you can questions. Yes.
Yeah, sure.
All right, and so my question is centered around having to choose between the use of vendor locked DevOps solutions versus the use of the open source ones. So getting to hear from you not so long ago, you mentioned something about it's been the deciding factor being centered around costs, basically exposing that if you have the money to pay, you can go for these low vendor locked solutions. I was wondering, aren't these open source tools more flexible to changes and more integration whereby you can easily the fact that these open source tools changes, new features are being added. I actually had this feeling that they would be better for adoption by a certain business, a certain company rather than most of these vendor lock stuff. I don't know by vendor lock, I don't know if maybe something like Azure DevOps fall under that category, basically. And if it does, basically, I actually had this feeling that maybe using these open source tools are quite better. But now you're mentioning that the vendor lock tools are better because they provide, you didn't really mention what they provide, but you said that they are better. If you have the money to go for them, you can go for them. So all this time I had to feel that using open source tools are quite better. So I don't know if you can shed more light on that.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, thank you, Shalom. Right. At the end of the day, it's about the business and the customer you are serving. Yeah. And vendor locking actually has its own advantages and disadvantages. And just as open source tool also has its own merit and demerit. So I mean, I feel what will be the deciding factor is the user or your customer, yeah, and how big your business is. So I mean, you starting as a startup, barely a year old, or you've not even had any funding, I'll just advise you, yeah, go for open source too. But even though you are trying to choose open source tools, right? Ensure you go for those ones that are quite stable enough so that you don't run into issues at the end of the day, right? If you are a bigger organization, you have a lot of $1 billion, then so why are you opting out to spend for? You could still spend on open. Sorry, you could still go with open source tools, but I mean, you also merge them with variety like the other bigger paid versions rather. So and you can also marry your platforms. That is why integration is important to consider. So even if you are going for a paid version of a tool, right, that seemingly might want to have the potential of vendor locking, because if you are on Azure, I'm not speaking ill of any organization, right? But if you're on Azure, you are on any of these big names, definitely they have service suite that does whatever thing you would want to do, and somehow it's difficult for you to move out to go to a different environment, right? Sometimes you might be considering the learning gap of your engineers, how long it will take them to learn, or the level of investment you might need to put in for trainings and all those stuff. But I mean, every organization has their own good and bad side. So you will need to consider all these things at the end of the day. So based on your the users customers you are serving, your user base, your customer base, and the size of your business too, which will determine and help you decide if to go on with, an open source tool. And remember, one that is still stable. Jenkins is very, very stable. So why so you could always go with Jenkins for your CI/CD. And later on, when you are matured enough, you can even go on cloud-based Jenkins, which is the paid version of Jenkins, right? So yeah, I don't know if someone has one or two to add to that, but I believe the size of the business, the customers you are offering services to will be also contributing factors to what I listed out before, on what DevOps platform you should go for, what choice of DevOps platform you should go for. Yeah, I see Manasseh. Hi, Manasseh. Nice. Hey, Luca. Okay, let's hear from Manasseh.
Yeah, I just wanted to add what you said earlier on. So yeah, like I'm just going to add to what David has said. It's not anything deviating, but yeah, like he absolutely vendor locking itself is not a bad thing. Most times when people choose a particular vendor, it's mostly either because of cost or um, the the skill set of your team or your customers as well. So if you want to choose a particular tool and you have weighed these options, or you're already on one and you want to migrate, you need to make make your decisions based on these things that I think David has listed earlier on. Look at the customers you have, look at how migrating to another platform will affect your customers, because your customer is a business. If there's no customer, there's no business. So you have to first put the customer first, then look at what your team can do. If your team can handle the other platform, or if the slope of getting to the new platform is more than what you intend or what you budgeted for, then there's no need moving to the new platform. And then cost, which is like one of the most important things in infra these days. You need to check how expensive it is. Most people, when you bring up a new tool, they ask you like, okay, what would it take? And what would it take? They mostly mean okay, in terms of implementation and in terms of cost. You have to also check what it takes in terms of cost. If you're migrating away from Azure to AWS because of something, and then you realize that it's like twice as expensive for AWS, you're trying to like justify this to maybe your team lead or the director of engineering, they would just be hearing money in their heads, even if it makes sense. But yeah, that's the most important thing. I think David has listed earlier on. Just wanted to like chip in. But yeah, I think that's what I wanted to add.
Yeah. Thank you very much,
Alright, thank you.
Manasseh, for adding that. Yeah. Hi, Luca. I see your hand is up. Your hand is up. Yeah, you can unmute yourself, Luca.
Okay, Dennis, thank you very much. I just to contribute to what you said and what Vanessa said, I think both ways, it goes a long way to say that people, have to think of the preference one, then we have to talk about research also, because I feel personally, I believe that, whether you are doing vendor locking or using open source or whatever thing you are doing, it's better I combine both. There's some aspects whereby you use open source and it's better. Whereas there's some aspect you need to focus on a particular vendor. So it boils down to the research you guys are making. And before you use any tool, you have to do enough research, read about it. We are in internet age, so everybody has access to internet. You can go to YouTube, can go to Google, you can research about tools and implication of using some tools. So that's my own contribution.
Yeah, it's very, very correct. Wonderful contributions. Thank you very much, everyone. Eluka, Manasseh, Bethel, yeah. Okay, so I'll be sharing the summary of this conversation too with Favor. I think I should be able to share the link thereabouts, so you can share it with the team. Yeah, I see team. Though, yeah, we are a team here, so that's fine. That's part of it. Okay, thank you very much for, your contributions and for paying audience to this interesting topic about, picking stools. Yeah. Thank you for reminding me on that. Yeah, having it now, right about now. Okay, so give me a second. Okay, yeah, I just need to sign in. All right, so I'll be dropping it before the call ends, right? So yeah, so I was saying thank you very much for the contributions on this very, very interesting and important topic, because at the end of the day, it's like a foundation on which you start to begin to that enables the DevOps practices and processes that your organization look forward to achieving, to getting at the end of the day. So you're not just doing all this as ceremonies. There are things that you need to do, to put into consideration by setting out to enable DevOps within your organization, right? Very, very true. Okay, so we'll be going to, how do we get the recording of this session? I think Favor will take care of that. Yeah, we had to register, so I think he has some list. So Favor will take care of that. Okay. All right. So and yeah, it's also be on the YouTube channel. Yes. So if you follow Localhost on YouTube, on Twitter, on what's it called? On I don't know if we are on Instagram, right? I believe we are on Telegram. Yeah, so if you follow DevOps community, definitely you will get a copy of this recording. Okay, so yes, this is a very big announcement. So event. We have a very big event coming, and this is going to be not virtual. We'll be meeting physical at the Localhost Lagos meetup. So we do it region wise. We have it in Abuja and Lagos. So we'll be having that of Lagos on the 25th of March. So this is another Lagos Localhost meetup. So this is another opportunity where we get to meet physical, network with one another. Share ideas, share your problems as regards what you are facing in the DevOps space. Get to learn from, our colleagues, get to learn from each and every one of ourselves, and become better engineers at the end of the day. And don't even forget, why I'm even emphasizing on meetup is because the whole idea of DevOps was actually bettered in meetups. So you had the father of DevOps in the person of Patrick the boy, where he was moving around events to engage in discussion about the issues that were arising between the developers, software engineers, having to meet up with deliveries, and throwing over their work done to operations engineers. And at the moment, he was even a database engineer, so to say. So, so when you come to meet up like this, you engage in such discussions that, who knows, you might be bringing the next big solution. All right, so that's going to be on the 25th. The link is out there for you to register. You see it on our LinkedIn platform, on the LinkedIn platform. So on our socials, so you get to register, and by the grace of God, see you there on the 25th. So yeah, there's also DevOps Days events for those of us joining from outside Nigeria. DevOps Days will be happening in Los Angeles on the 10th of March. They are all in-person events. You have a notable one again, Denver, that's in the United States, and Salt Lake, Nashville. So the various cities in the United States. So if you're in the United States, you can walk in there and enjoy one or two conversations around the happenings in the DevOps world, right? Also, obviously, I know that there are newsletters that we receive from the community. I think it's weekly basis, so always get to subscribe to those newsletters. They embody job opportunities, they embody training opportunities, and also latest happenings in the DevOps world. So on a weekly basis, another way for you to get yourself abreast, updated with latest information, latest happenings in the DevOps space, right? So, and as you're doing this, you're actually building your career.